I will never, ever go on the birth control ever again. Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Caitlin Hill. If you haven't yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button and like and share this video. Welcome. Okay, so today we are talking about a topic that I'm very passionate about. I just want to say right off the bat, this is not coming from a place of judgment whatsoever. I am also not giving any advice, and I'm certainly not talking about how to not get pregnant, okay? Do not take my advice whatsoever. Take advice from your doctors and medical professionals. I'm really excited to talk about this because I feel like this is a really interesting conversation that a lot of women are beginning to come back to and reawaken themselves to. I want to start off kind of at the beginning because initially when I was around 15 years old, I went on birth control, and it was kind of just like the answer at the time. It was like, you know, you've reached this age. If you're going to start even thinking about being sexually active, you need to just go on the pill. And that was sort of just the answer. So I went on it, and the only thing that they told me when I first went on it was that, do you smoke? And I was like, no. And you know, do blood clots run in your family? These were the only two things that I was asked of, and those weren't issues for me. But those were the only things that were kind of like, oh, well, no. So I'm fine if I take the birth control pill. But I had to go on and off several. And when I say several, I mean a lot more than several. I mean like probably close to about 10 different birth control pills. And it really varied in terms of what my reaction was to them. So it kind of would go from like, it would increase my acne, to the point of having like severe acne. Like I had it on my back actually, weight gain, feeling all around, like almost out of control in terms of my thoughts and behaviors. Just like not feeling like myself, I think most importantly was the biggest thing that I experienced a lot on birth control. And then I feel like I kind of reached a place where I did find a birth control that I liked, and I actually paid for that birth control because I live in Canada. So we had free birth control from when I was young, like when I started taking it basically. And then there was the one that actually worked for me was the one that I had to pay for. But even when I say worked for me, I think that I was just settling for the one that made me feel the least crazy, to be honest. And it was just kind of the way that it had to be. I never heard of any other options. I never heard of, you know, like listening to our cycles and rhythms. I never heard of anything like that. And this isn't stuff that they talk about in school. Like kind of the resources in school for me were just like, go on the pill. And that was the same for me and all my friends. So it was very normal. It was very normalized. And of course, there's a lot of stories that go along with the birth control pill. Like when it first came out in the 60s, it was marketed as being very empowering. You know, you don't have to think about sex, or not to not think about sex, but you don't have to think about like the responsibility of having sex, because you can kind of just have it with whomever. You don't have to worry about getting pregnant, so it takes away that responsibility. And so it sort of feels like it's almost like this magic thing that you can take that stops you from getting pregnant, but then there were so many other things that came along with it for me. The thing is that I realized, and it wasn't until I actually went off the pill 10 years later when I was 25. Yeah, 10 years I was on the birth control pill. Crazy. That I'd been kind of felt like when I went off of it that there was a veil that was lifted from who I was, the choices I was making, and the person I had become. I felt like I was very, 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 very disconnected from myself from 15 to 25 years old. And the answer that glares very much into my eyes at this point of my life is that it was the birth control pill, and that it was taking me away from my inner wisdom and my gut knowing of what was meant for me and what was my truth. And of course I was, masking all of these different things by taking a synthetic hormone that was not helping me whatsoever. Like, yes, okay, I wasn't getting pregnant, but it was also crippling me in so many other areas of my life that I really wish that I had known of some other options other than taking the birth control pill. So one of the things that's really empowered me and my body is trusting in my intuition, listening to my rhythms and cycles that are there for us all. We are so connected to Mother Nature. It's not like there's Mother Nature and then there's us. We're the same thing. So when you look at women's cycles, there are 13 moon cycles, and most women will have 13 cycles, menstrual cycles, within 1 year, just like there are 13 moon cycles within a year. So when you look at that, you realize how connected we are to the moon and the seasons. For example, now when I talk about having my period, especially with my daughters, I talk about this a lot, is that there are 4 different seasons. I go through my winter, which is of course having my period, my spring, my summer, which is ovulation, and then I go to my fall, which is right before pre-period. And by shifting the way I've looked at that has changed my entire life, because I actually plan and schedule things in accordance to where I'm at in my schedule now. And of course, that doesn't always work out. I live in a modern world, like life goes on. There are some times where I have to suck it up and, do things in the middle of having my period where all I want to do is just be laying in bed and doing nothing and resting. But I think it's really important to become aware of that and to know that that is the deep wisdom that's within us all. So I really try my best to acknowledge when I have my cycle. I don't use tampons. If I do, it'll be like I said, if there is something that I'm committed to doing on, the beginning, those first and second days of having my cycle. But I really try to not carry on with life as normal when I begin my cycle, and that's tricky with having kids and having, a busy schedule and all those sorts of things. But it is really important to listen to that, because the more that I don't listen to that, the harder my cycle is and the more pain I find myself in, especially on those first and second days. And because we are so disconnected from that in our society, I do wonder if some of these issues, like menstrual issues, fertility issues, depression, anxiety, stress, exhaustion, if all of those things do correlate to maybe women not listening to their cycles and honoring their cycles. I do wonder if there is a correlation there. And I also notice that I end up being in a lot more pain during my cycle if I'm not listening to what my body is telling me. Pain is a messenger, and it's there for a reason. It's not to be covered up or ignored or suppressed. There is a root to that pain, and there's a root to that feeling that needs to be listened to. Our cycles reveal so much to us of what we're going through and what we're feeling. And I really believe that it's like a mirror showing us what we need to work on within ourselves. And if we're constantly pushing it down and pushing it away, I do think that there's a lot of repercussions to that. And when you're taking a synthetic hormone like the birth control pill, it is interfering with that deep wisdom, that deep knowledge that lives within our womb space. That is where we get our intuition from, our gut. That is our gut feeling. And if we're taking something that's not real to us and something that's a foreign object into our bodies, we're going to be disconnected from who we truly are as women and what we are meant to be, at our fullest potential, at our fullest, best, most amazing selves. That is the truth. For me, that is my truth. And that is what feels true and right for me. I kind of want to get away from like what's right and what's wrong, and more what feels right for me and what's useful for me. And that resonates very, very much with me. Our wisdom is held in our womb space, also known as our intuition. And our power shows up in our cycle and how we choose to look at our cycles. Women are absolutely amazing. We are so connected with nature, and our cycles are so incredible, just like men. If we can really honor and get to know what is divine masculine traits, what are divine feminine traits, these are so important, and to know our cycles will help us so much more rather than just ignoring them and pretending that they don't exist. And again, this isn't stuff that we learn in school, so it's like it kind of feels almost a little bit foreign to us. And almost to the day of me not taking the birth control pill anymore, I felt like I came back to myself. Like, and that is just blows my mind. And with that knowledge, I will never ever go on the birth control ever again, because once you feel real and you see what is real, you cannot become unreal again. It's just that simple. To me, being in touch with my intuition, being in touch with my body is the most important thing in the world to me, and knowing that I can tap into my own truth and my own wisdom at any point, and by following my cycles and my rhythms and really tuning into those and listening to those, that's true empowerment for me. Taking a pill and masking what's really going on within myself and trying to give it a false sense of reality does not help me. So that being said, this comes from no place of judgment whatsoever. If you feel like the birth control pill is the best route for you, stay on it. Like, this is just, I'm not telling you to go off the pill. I am simply just sharing what my thoughts and opinion are on it now, looking back after being on it I've been off of it for 10 years now. And after I was on, actually, that's crazy now that I think about it. I was on it for 10 years now. I've been off of it for 10 years. And I've been able to really look back and reflect at that time of my life. And I really think the birth control pill played a huge part in me, in a lot of my decision making and a lot of who I was as a person back then. And I really think it's important to have a lot of discernment about what it is that you're putting into your body, and know that we are powerful as women, just as men are powerful in their masculine. It's really important to know that we can really tap in to what our body's abilities are, and that is where we can get our true happiness and full fulfillment. Don't even get me started about the copper IUD. I got pregnant on it twice, okay? I actually had my first daughter from being on the copper IUD. So again, I am very, very, very comfortable in my body now. I can't imagine putting something into it that would take me away from that place of feeling so good. Like, I feel better now at 35 years old than I ever did at 15 years old or at 25 years old. I feel healthier, more energy, more connected. I sleep better, so many different things, because I'm not tampering with my hormones. I'm not messing with something that is already perfect. I see us as coming into this world as being perfect human beings. I think a lot of the things that we do and try to change, and we have to do this, we have to do that, that's where it can start to kind of mess up our own natural cycles. I also really think it's important, as a mother of 3 girls, that I begin to really look at this conversation of how I want to shift my daughter's perspective on this, because when I first got my period, there was a lot of negativity around it. It's like, oh, now you're going to be bleeding for the next 40 years, oh no, that sucks, that's too bad. Like, there's a lot of negativity that goes into having our cycles. And I really want to shift that for my daughters and for the future generations of women and young women, to see it in a different light, which is that having our cycles is this beautiful thing. And I look so forward to it now, because I'm like, this is my body doing what it's made to do. And I'm so grateful to be able to listen to that and to rest and relax and take some time for myself, and see it as an opportunity to really tap into what my body needs and what it's saying. For example, if I am in pain, what's it telling me that I need to look at throughout maybe the rest of my cycle, or maybe the rest of my life? Maybe there's something that I'm avoiding, that I'm pushing down, that needs to come up during my cycle, that is really important for me to recognize and to shift and change. And so for me, like, when I get my cycle with my girls, they already know. Like, I tell them which season I'm in. They know how I'm feeling, the words I'm using around it. I'm very specific around what I say around having my period. I never talk about it in a negative way. And that, I think that that's really important. And my girls will know what it means to have, if of what cycle that they're in and what stage of their cycle they're in, and how important and powerful it is to have this cycle and what it means and what that means to be a woman. Because we go through several different huge stages in our lives, 3 in particular, which is getting our menstrual cycle, getting pregnant, becoming a mother, and then going through menopause. Women are absolutely magic, and when we tap into that true embodiment of what our power is and what we are capable of, I truly believe that that's how we can move mountains, and that's how we change the world. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. Please like and subscribe and share this video, and I hope you have the most beautiful day. Ciao for now.